Sir Callahan is the one to see. Call 3-8.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Thursday, working towards the weekend, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos, fired up. You were here with us. Plenty to do here on this Thursday. LSU back on the hardwood tonight. Get a little bit of a preview of that much later on in this hour. Andrew Ellis from Inside Arkansas is going to be here in 15 minutes. Talk about this game and what the energy level is up there on the Hill. I got a feeling they're kind of looking towards John Calipari's team. Certainly Dave Van Horn's team always present there in Arkansas. What about this football team that Bobby Petrino is leading into Baton Rouge? We'll talk to Andrew Ellis about it in 15 minutes. Saints offensive line is underperforming. Ross Jackson wrote about it. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later on in this hour. I do want to talk about Arkansas, specifically one player on their terrible defense that is very much not terrible. We'll talk about that at 2 o'clock. Chris Blair will be with us, Luke Johnson as well. So plenty to do. Log us in. We'll start things the way we do every day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Our first segment today is going to have some similarities to one of our segments yesterday. Yesterday, I dove into some characteristics that I was looking for in LSU's next football coach. I talked about commitment, talked about embracing the new rules in the world that college football is, talked about age, talked about expertise on one side of the ball. There were plenty of things that I talked about over the course of that segment as an overview. I want to drill down deeper into one of those bullet points today. So same topic, just more in depth on one bullet point. And it is that expertise on one side of the football for the next coach. When Nick Saban left after the 2004 season, his defense walked out the door with it. And LSU's had 3 head coaches since then, starting in 2005 with Les Miles, Ed Orgeron taking over in 2017, and Brian Kelly in 2022. And what you saw from those 3 was a dependence on coordinators on both sides of the ball. Because you don't look at Les Miles, and yeah, you might go, well, offensive line guy, run the football. But like, was it his scheme? No, and it certainly wasn't an identity of the program in a positive manner if you are going to lean that way. Ed Orgeron was never a defensive coordinator, didn't have a scheme that he wanted to play. Brian Kelly has been a defensive coordinator in his time and certainly does get credit for some of the offensive philosophies that he's brought with him place to place. But these guys are over the top of the program when they run it, and they're very dependent on the coordinators. I'll give you the examples. You know them, but like Les Miles had Jimbo Fisher, and LSU scored some points. And then he got Gary Croton, and LSU did score some points, and then that fizzled. And then you had the situation where Steve Cragthorpe came in, and he got sick, so he had to step aside, and Greg Stadrawa did okay, but then it kind of faded with him, and then they brought in Cam Cameron, and it was a disaster. And you rode this roller coaster trying to find your offensive coordinator, and the same thing was true on the defensive side. He started with Bo Pelini, and that was great. They won a championship, but Pelini left for Nebraska, and he elevated Bradley Del Pivido and Doug Mallory, and they couldn't do anything on defense. That 2008 defense was just awful. And it fell off a cliff because you didn't have Pelini there. So they went and hired John Chavis, and that was great. And then he left, and they went and hired Dave Aranda, and that was great, as long as you had the right coordinator in place. But you're riding the volatile swings of misses at coordinator, and Cam Cameron in the Malvito, if you want to use a bad phrase from that time. Like, if you got a bad coordinator, things went terribly. And then the same thing is true for Ed Orgeron when he got here. He wanted Lane Kiffin. Well, that didn't happen, so they got Matt Canada, and those two hated each other. So it didn't go well. And Ed Orgeron told him at halftime of the Troy game, don't run any more motions, which is like the main piece of the Matt Canada offense. Now, they got Steve Ensminger in place, and Joe Brady came in, and they made magic, but then Joe Brady left, and Steve Ensminger said, I'm out of here. Well, they ended up without a coordinator, like, well, Jake Peets, you can run the offense. Well, that didn't work. Jake Peets doesn't know how to run an offense. He just knew Joe Brady, so they hired him. On the defensive side, you had David Aranda, left over from Les Miles. Everything was great when Aranda was here. Well, he left for Baylor, and you hired Pelini, and it was terrible. So he left, fired him, and then you couldn't find a defensive coordinator. So you went and got Durante Jones, who hadn't called a defense in a decade and hasn't called one since he left LSU. Now, he did okay at the end of that season, but, like, you were dependent on something you couldn't make happen. Brian Kelly, y'all know that story. Denbrock setting records. Sloan, it fell apart. Matt House, awful. Got Blake Baker, things got better, but the offense had fallen apart. See what I'm saying? Like, there's just so much volatility. I would like the next coach to take away 50% of that volatility. And this is one of those deals where I get the notebook out and I start going through and I go, okay, this is what I think in my head. What do the numbers tell me? And I started going through some very household names in college football. Start with Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin on offense at Ole Miss. Total offense in the nation, not the SEC, in the nation. This year, 4th. Last year, 2nd. 2023, 13th. 2022, 8th. 2021, 6th. That's 4 top 8 offenses nationally and the one, quote-unquote, off-year 13th in the nation. It doesn't matter who they have as a defensive coordinator. It doesn't matter who they have at Charlie Weiss Jr. As long as Lane Kiffin's there, they're going to be a top 10 offense in the nation. Book it. Ryan Day, in terms of scoring offense at Ohio State since he's taken over. There's been 9 seasons. Top 12 in the nation in scoring offense, 7 out of those 9 years. They had one dip in 2023. They were 45th. Other than that, 18th, 12th, 2nd, 1st, 11th, 3rd, 8th, 6th. Like, no matter what. Quarterbacks come and go. Offensive linemen come and go. Sometimes you have Jeremiah Smith. Sometimes you have Emeka Ibuka. Sometimes, like, it doesn't matter. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba. You're going to be in a top 15, top 10 in scoring offense every year with Brian Day as your offensive coordinator, as your head coach. I can go to Mike Elko. He's at Texas A&M right now. And I mentioned this stat yesterday, but I wanted to go back and look year over year. I know what they are this year. I know third down defense, Mike Elko, this year, they're first in the nation. Best in the country on third down. I watched with my own 2 eyes in Tiger Stadium. So I wanted to go, okay, well, what does that look like in his time at Texas A&M calling defenses? Because, you know, he's a defensive coordinator for Jimbo Fisher. Well, last year in his first year, 33rd. Certainly not bad, but not like elite of the elite. But then you go back to his time as defensive coordinator in 2021, 2019, 18. 13th, 23rd, 15th, 9th. Basically, you take out his first year as a head coach when he inherits the roster, and you look at what he's developed and recruited in those 4 years. 1st, 13th, 23rd, 15th, 9th. You're going to be really good on third down when Mike Elko is calling your defense. You're going to be really good on third down. It's an identity that he takes pride in, that they're good at every single year. And he can have an offensive coordinator come and go, and you recruit this guy and that guy. And it's just really good every year because that's his side of the ball. He takes care of that. Now, I'm obviously looking right now. Those are all playoff teams, but it doesn't even mean playoff teams this year. Like, I could point to Josh Heupel. And I know he hasn't won anything of significance at Tennessee. They never beat Georgia. They haven't played for the SEC championship. They got blown out in the playoffs last year. Like, I get it, but keep in mind that Tennessee, for 15 years, post-Fulmer, stunk. Irrelevant, couldn't figure it out. Dooley, Pruitt, Butch Jones, whatever. Not good enough. But Heupel comes in, and no matter what, he's had a bunch of quarterbacks, bunch of running backs, bunch of offensive lines. In terms of rushing offense, you look at, in his 5 years, where Tennessee is ranked in rushing offense. This year, they're 7th in the league. I'll get to something in a second, because that's not great, right? Last year, 1st. The year before that, 1st. The year before that, 2022, 6th. Middle of the pack. The year before that, 3rd. So in 5 years, rushing offense, 1st, 3rd, and then a 7th and a 6th. Those 7th and 6th years literally led the SEC in passing. So in 4 of Heupel's 5 years, They have been number one, not like top 5, number 1 in the SEC in either rushing or passing. No matter what happens there, that's the identity of the program. We got it. Now, you could say, well, what if they won? Like, why would I want that? Well, there's something to be said for establishing a baseline and being really good at it. And Josh Heupel has done that, and LSU's been missing that. Let me look at 2 other examples here. It's a completely different world, but you'll understand the point that I'm making. Y'all know how low the lows go at Mississippi State. Like, they go really low. Sylvester Croom was 10-30 in SEC games at State. They have currently lost 17 of 18 league games. If you're not on top of your stuff at Mississippi State, the bottom can fall out in a hurry. You know who the bottom never fell out on? Dan Mullen and Mike Leach. Why? Because they had their offense. Now, Mullen had really good defensive linemen. Absolutely, no question about it. I'm not suggesting that all of Mullen's success is on his offense, but it is his offense, and they were good on offense. And you look at Dan Mullen at his time at Mississippi State, he was 33-39 in league games. Now, that doesn't sound good, but they've lost 17 of 18 right now. Croom lost everything, 0-8. Never happened under Mullen. They won 3 or more SEC games in 8 of 9 years. 3-5 at worst, 8 of 9 years. Mike Leach was 11-14 in league games. You look at the post-COVID years 2 and 3 for him, they were 4-4 in the league both years. Because they establish a baseline. That's the identity of the program. It's never going away. I don't have to rely on coordinators to make that happen. I make it happen. Because guess what happens with coordinators? They either get head coaching jobs because they're doing a great job, or you fire them because it falls apart. If you have one side of the ball that is yours, that you can take ownership in, that is consistent in your program, it establishes a baseline. And a place like LSU, I want that because Les didn't have it, and O didn't have it, and Kelly didn't have it. Now, it is easier said than done. It's easier said than done. Auburn just hired a guy 3 years ago who has scored points everywhere he's ever been, and Hugh Freeze couldn't do anything on offense. Couldn't do anything. Billy Napier's an offensive guy. Went to Florida. Their offense is awful. Fired. Dave Aranda went to Baylor. I bet you weren't completely aware of this. In his time at Baylor the last 2 years, Baylor's been in the bottom half of the Big 12 in defense. You would have thought hiring him from Baylor, well, they might not win. I don't know. I don't know if he can recruit. I don't know if he can get players to Waco. I don't know what they'll do on offense. But that defense, I promise you, they'll be good on defense. And they're not good on defense. They're bad on defense. So it's not a fail-proof method. But as I'm evaluating candidates, there's just something to having an expertise on one side of the ball that never goes away as long as that guy's got the headset. And I think that's a good thing for LSU. Now, Lane Kiffin checks all these boxes, obviously. But there are other guys that can do this. I mentioned Heupel. Like Jeff Brom is at Louisville, and wherever he goes, they tend to score points. That Louisville offense with Aiden O'Connor was really good at Purdue. Not Louisville. Purdue offense, Aiden O'Connell was really good that LSU played in the bowl game when he had left, and O'Connell left, and the number 1 wide receiver left, and their number 1 tight end had left. But they scored points at Purdue. They're scoring points at Louisville. It's Dan Lanning's going to have that defense at Oregon every year. You know the stories of Steve Spurrier and whatever, Saban, Kirby Smart. I looked at Kirby's defenses and 5th, 1st, 16th, 1st, 14th, 6th. Those are national numbers. Now I realize you look at the top guys in the sport, you're always going to get great results, and it's hard to find one of the top guys in the sport. But just something that if I was Verge Ausberry, I would keep in mind. Because if you have Les Miles as your coach, or you have Brian Kelly as your coach, or you have Dabo Swinney, who's a CEO guy. We talked yesterday about the Ravens hiring a special teams coach, and look, John Harbaugh's been pretty good there. But when you have a CEO of a head coach who is that reliant on coordinators, you have 100% liability and volatility. If you get the head coach in place that has his baby on one side of the ball, you kind of decrease that volatility by 50%. And in a place like LSU, if you can run a high baseline, you're going to spike more often than not. But LSU did spike under Brian Kelly on offense, and the defense fell out. And the defense was pretty good this year, and the offense is the second worst scoring offense in the SEC. Take away some of that volatility. Hire somebody who owns one side of the football. That's something that I would really like LSU to try to do. And you look around the country at a lot of different places, There's proof in that. It's one of those situations. I tell you all this all the time. Sometimes I go into the stat book and I start writing things down, and exactly what I think bears out in the numbers. And sometimes it reveals itself. This is what I thought. I went towards some names that popped in my head of like they do that for their program. And you look at what they've done. Heupel's elevated Tennessee. Kiffin has elevated Ole Miss. Ohio State, pretty damn good. Right now, Texas A&M looks pretty good. Now, I gave you the examples of the guys that didn't work out. Napier, Freeze, Aranda. Like, it's not a foolproof plan, but it's something I'd like LSU to look into. That's our opening drive here on this Thursday. When we come back, Andrew Ellis inside Arkansas talking Hogs next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. If you haven't considered closet space, maybe it's time to do that. I told you the story at least every week that in my old house, when my now wife moved in, she looked around and goes, I can't put all my clothes up here. I never thought about it. Had enough room for me. She had stuff in the closet up in the attic. We were using what the kids' rooms became to store our stuff. Hallway closets, just wasn't functional. We could have called David. We knew we were moving when baby number 2 came, so didn't feel like that was a necessary call. But you don't have to move to get the closets that you need in your home. David Duvall is happy to do it. He will customize them to your specifications. If you're thinking, man, I have no idea what I want to do for Christmas this year for my wife, for my girlfriend, for whoever. Well, how about a new closet? Customized. David Duvall is happy to help you out with that. Go to onebathandclosets.com and look at the pictures of some of their fantastic work. You'll be thrilled. You'll be thrilled with them. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's David Duvall and One Bath and Closets. You can find them online. Onebathandclosets.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home, with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know each case and client are unique, and that no two cases are the same. But one thing remains constant, and that is our passion to help our clients. After an accident, we know your life has changed, which is why we passionately fight to make you and your family whole. Remember, whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. We're here to serve you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Rolling along, working towards the weekend. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Let's head up to Northwest Arkansas. Andrew Ellis covers the Hogs for Inside Arkansas. Good enough to give us a little bit of time today. Andrew, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm just absolutely buzzing for this epic showdown about to take place in Baton Rouge Saturday, man. I can't wait.
Last time we spoke, we were in Omaha. Everybody was fired up trying to win a national championship. Now everybody's just bored and sleeping and waiting till December so they can hire a coach. Let's talk about this Arkansas football team. Where did it go wrong early on for Sam Pittman?
Well, it went wrong whenever they decided to only have about 3 competent defensive linemen in the entire roster. Not having any depth on the defensive line up front, filling in some gaps in the secondary with some guys who had been benched at other SEC schools. Arkansas thought it'd be a great idea to bring them in. And so, honestly, I think when you look at this Razorback team, the talent level on defense is just not SEC quality whatsoever. You mix that in with some weird game management. Arkansas's unique ability to lose close games. It was going to be hard for them to overcome that. You look at Arkansas' schedule, I mean, there's a close loss on the road at Ole Miss. That's not a bad performance, but, one you weren't able to get done. You have a close loss on the road at Tennessee. Not a bad loss. You play A&M fairly close at home. There's been opportunities for Arkansas, but ultimately the offense, which has been good, hasn't been able to overcome all the deficiencies of the defense. And anytime the game gets close, Arkansas just kind of fails to show up.
What's the feeling on Talon Green? I've listened to y'all a little bit, but I mean, he leads the nation in total offense, but they don't ever win any games. So what's the narrative around him?
So that's, right, that you just kind of told the story in one sentence right there. Leads the nation in total offense, yet when the game gets ready to be won, you just don't have any confidence whatsoever. It really goes back to last year. He was a guy that didn't come in with a ton of buzz. I mean, he was he had basically been benched at Boise State. And so he wasn't like a guy in the transfer portal that Arkansas had to compete with all these other teams to get. You kind of knew once he got on campus, okay, there's some athleticism. They like him. They like his leadership. They like his arm. They think there's some things they can do with him. Of course, he's such a dynamic athlete. And so you saw some good things, but we noticed early on his first actual game as Arkansas's quarterback. They played UAPB in the opener, but they go on down to Stillwater, and he has a game where it was like 440 passing yards, 80 rushing yards, and then they just completely go silent in the fourth quarter, and that ended up being it. And so we saw that play out, and like you said, a ton of yards, but you don't win the game. And it's easy to kind of dismiss that when it happens once, but when it kind of keeps happening, it becomes a narrative that, unfortunately for Talon, because he's a great kid and I think he's a good player, it's going to end up being kind of the story of his career, that he was a fun guy to watch. He kind of is good enough to make you feel like you have a chance in every game, but it ultimately, people are going to remember you by the games that you win, not the games that you almost win. And unfortunately for Talon, he's been a part of a lot of great almost victories at the University of Arkansas.
What else does Arkansas do really well on offense outside of Talon Green?
Well, the offensive line, weirdly enough, one of the big narratives coming into the year when Sam Pittman was the head coach is the last couple of years, Arkansas's offensive line has struggled. And we all kind of felt like, hey, if Sam Pittman's going to keep his job, like, it's got to come through this offensive line. Like, that has to be something they have to figure out. And weirdly enough, they did figure it out. Like, if you had showed me some of the numbers from this offensive line preseason and been like, hey, this is what they're going to do. This is what they're going to do in the ground game. This is how they're going to do in pass protection. I would have been like, damn, so Arkansas's 5-3. What are they? Are they, competing for a bowl? What bowl are they going to go to? I would not have imagined it would go this poorly. But I would say that's certainly a strength of this team. I mean, Bobby Petrino we know how good he is as a play caller. We know when he has a quarterback that he trusts and can do some cool things with, there's a high ceiling on what he can accomplish. And this offensive line's giving them a chance to, make some plays downfield. They're very explosive. Their running back, Mike Washington, who I believe is in the top 3 of the SEC in rushing yards still. Maybe not a consistent bruiser power back, but like he can when he finds a seam, he's dangerous. And so I would say just overall the explosive nature of this offense, going into a matchup with an LSU team that clearly doesn't have a ton of consistency on offense, I think if there's like one area where I'm like, hey, Arkansas could have some success, I think making it a shootout and making it a battle of explosive offenses would be something that would probably suit Arkansas.
I would argue LSU's offense is really consistent. They score like 17 points in every game. It's very, very consistent in that way. Just they don't do very much. That's all that good. I just did a whole segment about how I'd like LSU's next head coach to have one side of the ball really figured out, because Brian Kelly didn't, Ed Ogeron didn't, Les Miles didn't. They haven't had it really since Saban in the early 2000s. Bobby Petrino's got one side of the ball figured out. Is he completely off the table as the next head coach at Arkansas? At least you would know your offense was going to be good every year.
You would think he would be off the table, considering, just his entire tenure, his entire history as a head coach, and the fact that the last time he had a legitimate Division I head coaching job, it was Louisville, where they basically, had to fire him. It went all, went belly up after Lamar Jackson left. And not to mention how his Arkansas tenure ended back in the day.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who still feel, a lot of animosity towards Bobby Petrino. The fact that he hasn't won a game as an interim coach, I feel like, especially those Auburn and Mississippi State games, where you kind of just had to have him. Like, if Arkansas was going to do anything with this season whatsoever, it was probably going to have to come in those two home games. After losing both of them, I don't really see a path. But we just got done doing our daily show, and we had people in the chat that were like, why are y'all dismissing Bobby? And so I honestly, I feel like it's still kind of on the table, especially depending on how many people tell Arkansas no, which, there's no limit to how many coaches can tell Arkansas no.
Well, the way things have gone around here the last 3 weeks, that may be the case in Baton Rouge as well. Like, how much are y'all paying attention to the fact that LSU's open, that Florida is open, that Auburn is open, Florida State may come open, Penn State is open? Like, is that a topic of conversation in Northwest Arkansas?
Oh, absolutely. Well, and it was a huge topic of conversation last year. Arkansas goes 6-6, which, at Arkansas doesn't sound like a time when you'd want to fire your coach, but the narrative, at least around us in the media and the way that everyone kind of felt, they almost fired him after the 2023 season when they go 4-8, and they had to put out, it's always bad when you put out a statement announcing that you're retaining your head coach. That's when you know your program's not necessarily headed for greatness. But they did that during the 2023 season. And so we went into last year being like, okay, is he going to have to go 6-6 to save his job? Is he going to have to go 7-5? And a lot of us really smart people, we made the case that, hey, he got Arkansas to a point of stability, which honestly was the goal of Sam Pittman's tenure. When he took over for Chad Morris, Arkansas was 4-20 the last 2 years. You just needed any form of stability, any form of anything. And Sam Pittman had this really big hip surgery at the end of last season that was already scheduled. And so a lot of us kind of felt like, hey, this is the perfect opportunity to kind of mutually part ways, do it amicably. You leave the program on stable ground. And the important part, last year, 0 SEC teams fired their coach. So you weren't going to get the greatest coach. You weren't going to get Nick Saban to come out of retirement, but hypothetically, you would be able to kind of have your choice of whatever up-and-coming candidate. Now I look around at LSU, which is undeniably a better job than Arkansas. Auburn, which has been a disaster lately, but still historically viewed as a better job than Arkansas. Florida, no doubt about it. Like, that's a better job than Arkansas. Not to mention Penn State. Maybe they end up hiring Drinkwitz, so that opens up Missouri. Perhaps Kiffin bounces. Maybe that opens up Ole Miss. There's a very clear path to Arkansas kind of being the odd man out here. That is very much on our radars. That is not lost on us.
Is there a name that sounds good to y'all at this point?
James Franklin sounds tremendous to me. I love that idea. It's funny when Arkansas. So it's September 28th. That's when Arkansas fired Sam Pittman. At that point in time, if you had asked me for my top 3 candidates, it would have probably looked a lot different than my top 3 candidates then, especially because I didn't know James Franklin was going to be an option. And so he's kind of the guy that if I feel, we always hear this terminology. I'm sure you guys are going to say this a ton over the next few weeks. You got to make them say no. You got to make someone say no. I feel like James Franklin for Arkansas, that should be their guy. And honestly, you mentioned all these other jobs open. Maybe James Franklin will end up being a candidate at LSU or a candidate at Auburn. Personally, I feel like a lot of those schools, LSU in particular, like I don't think LSU would hire James Franklin. They'd be a little too Kelly with like ideas. You can correct me if I'm wrong there, but like I feel like James Franklin actually is the kind of perfect guy that you could pitch him on this idea of it being a reclamation project, of him getting his career back on track. And I don't necessarily know if he's going to be a candidate at all these top openings in the country, because I'd imagine, a lot of programs have their sights set on more up-and-coming, younger guys that are a little bit more flashy names. But I feel like Franklin is the guy you got to make say no. And then I really like Golish at South Florida. He's kind of been my guy through this whole thing. I don't know if he's a genius or not, but he is. If you're going to go the up and coming route, I feel like Golis, you could do a lot worse.
Last one here. We appreciate your time here on this Thursday. More excitement. I know basketball's actually playing, which generates a lot of excitement. More excitement for this John Calipari team or Dave Van Horn's team in the spring?
So for me, the answer is always going to be baseball.
Yeah.
I'm a baseball guy. It's always I'm always going to kind of have my eye on the diamond a little bit. I am very excited about John Calipari's squad. They had a tough loss Saturday on the road at Michigan State, but I think there's a really high floor for John Calipari's team. I mean, they've got 2 dynamite freshmen. They've got a returning core in the roster. Like, they're going to be at least pretty good. But as you guys know, like, we're not going to be happy in Fayetteville until Dave Van Horn gets that chip. And since you guys ruined that so clearly last year, we're just going to have to run it back, man. I like the roster they've got. I think they did a good job in the transfer portal, filling in some gaps. I think Dave Van Horn's going to have, at worst, a top 5 to 10 team this year. And
his schedule is beautiful in SEC play. So something tells me we'll see y'all up in Nebraska this summer. That sound good?
Sounds great to me, man. Definitely looking forward to that.
All right. Appreciate it, Andrew.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Andrew Ellis, Inside Arkansas, good enough to give us some time here on this Thursday. We'll come back and talk some Saints, but let me tell you about Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef because they bring you our Thursday shows each and every week. It's the middle of November. If you're thinking about getting some clients something great for the holidays, don't want to go with that same old bottle of wine that you always go with, same box of pralines you always go with, how about some prime Angus beef for your clients, for your customers? You can do it. Sean is happy to help you with it. You can buy a side, you can buy a quarter, buy a whole cow, depending on how many boxes you want to put together. Sean will help you. He'll go ahead and package it for you and help you with every single step of the way. You can get those clients, those customers, prime fillets, prime ribeyes, flank steaks, skirt steaks, ground beef for burgers. It's all phenomenal. We've had it at the Palmer House all summer and fall long. It has been a game changer for us. Just pop it right out of the freezer. It's ready to roll that night on the grill. We love it. It's prime Angus beef, some of the top beef in the country. If you would like to entertain customers, entertain clients with a gift that will be different and awesome this holiday season, call Sean, 225-719-1723. It's 225-719-1723. He's happy to help you and got to age at 45 days, so it's time to get that call into Sean right now. Sagrera Farms brings you our Thursday shows. We'll come back and talk some Saints next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Banking on the go? Our mobile app makes it effortless. But at Campus Federal, you're more than just an account number. We build relationships with our members, supporting you from saving for college to owning your first home. If you're buying a car, planning a home renovation, or a vacation, we're here to help. Campus Federal Credit Union, your trusted financial partner for every stage of life. Start your journey today.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather updates throughout the morning. The conversation starts weekday mornings at 6 on Talk 107.3.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, Whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you'll likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim, which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Chat with Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, in hour number 2. Luke Johnson with the Saints as well at 2:30, so about 55 minutes from now. I want to talk about the Saints in this segment. Ross Jackson's got a piece up LouisianaSports.net talking about the Saints and in the offensive front. It is a good idea. It is sound judgment to try to build with your offensive line. We know that the Saints, in their heyday, back when they were as good as anybody in the sport and won the Super Bowl, you did so with the best guard tandem in the NFL. Now, you had an undersized quarterback who needed to work from the pocket, and you had two incredible players in Jari Evans, Carl Nicks right there at your guards. And you had quality tackles as well. And so when you're Mickey Loomis and you're this front office that saw that and saw that pay off, it's good to continue to invest in that offensive line, but you got to hit on the investments, obviously. And it's interesting to look back, say, 15 months ago and look at what we were talking about with the Saints offensive line and how big a mess it was. Because at that point, like, Trevor Penning hadn't played. He was a first-round pick but had been hurt. Weren't really sure if he could play left tackle or if he maybe was a guard or if you're going to move him. You had questions about what the future of Ryan Ramczyk was. He wasn't playing. We know now that he was never going to play again. And you had Cesar Ruiz and Eric McCoy, very young players that you were taken early in the draft. And there was just a lot of – it was in flux. It was in flux in a big way. And you've now seen some things transpire that have made things a little bit clear, but there are still muddy waters. Like, Ramczyk moved on, obviously. You tried Trevor Penning at right tackle. You tried to move him in at left guard. Ultimately, you knew that was going to be a failure, and you traded him off for a bag of footballs. And so you've invested back-to-back first-round picks at your tackle spots, and you still don't know a ton. Fuaga was good last year as a rookie. You've moved him, and he's hurt. Now you look at Banks, and he looks pretty good, but it's early. Ruiz looks like the worst guard in the NFL, quite literally. And McCoy has now missed big chunks of 2 straight seasons. And you look at the resources you've dumped into that, and it's by far the most in terms of draft capital that you've used. And you don't have any money to spend in free agency. Like, that doesn't exist. All you have is draft capital, and there it all is. And I can't come up with anything outside of a healthy Eric McCoy, which doesn't currently exist, that's solid. And Ross laid out the numbers. You're bottom half of the league in sacks given up. You're 32nd in pass block win rate and 27th in run block win rate. So you're the worst in the NFL in pass blocking, and you're 5th worst in run blocking. You're getting penalized. 10th most in the NFL in false start penalties. Worse on holding. You're tied for 4th. Not only are you missing blocks, you're getting penalized for them. You look at the ground game, 3.7 yards per carry. That's 30th in the NFL. Only 2 teams worse. So any way you chop this up, this has been a miss on the offensive front. Now, it can improve. Banks is young and is playing and looks the part. I have no problem with Kelvin Banks right now. I think I would bet on Fuaga right now. Now, he's got to stay healthy. Big dudes, that heavy, that many collisions, injuries happen. And if you could just get Eric McCoy to play 15 games a year instead of 6, that's a good starting point. I don't know what Dylan Radins is going to give you the rest of the year. It'd be nice if Will Clapp was healthy. He's not. It'd be nice if Nick Saldivari had worked out. He is not. He's hurt. And injuries are going to happen, but you look around and it just hasn't clicked. And if you continue to sink early round picks into this that fail, like, it just continues to set you back. The more important discussions we're having here are not about matchups Sunday to Sunday. They're about the future. And what do I always say? I'm always talking about the next good Saints team, the next good Saints team, the next good Saints team. And I can't get Demario Davis on that team. I can't get Alvin Kamara on that team. Tyron's gone. Rashid Shaheed is now gone. I don't think Taysom Hill's on that team. But these offensive linemen need to be on that team. And they're not helping right now because they either play very poorly, like Reese has, or they're hurt. And it's just a big bummer. And it is even more of a bummer when you look at the statistics. You can watch the game on Sunday. I'm watching the game on Sunday. You're watching the game on Sunday. It's not great. Like, they've had some times where they've gotten the run game going. They blocked well last Sunday. It wasn't great on the ground, but it was okay. And they gave Shuck enough time. Now, he improvised, and he's athletic, and he can do some of those things. So could Rattler to an extent. And a lot of the times, Rattler was getting the ball out really quickly. So some of these numbers probably could be worse. But you're going to be breaking in a new quarterback, whether it's Shuck this year or somebody you take in this draft. And you've got to get this part straightened out because you can't get anything done if you can't win up front. You just can't. Like, the Panthers are actually winning games with Bryce Young as a bottom 4-5 quarterback in the NFL. I don't think anybody would argue against that. Why are they winning games? Because they can hand the ball off and run for 200 yards. They've got a defensive front that's doing a pretty good job. They've got one of the better corners in the NFL. But the main thing for the offense is you're doing enough up front to run the ball to take some pressure off of him. I think that ship's probably sailed for this year, but hopefully Fuaga comes back. You're in the bye. Maybe he comes back. Banks improves. You see something out of Radins. And then Shuck gets comfortable behind them. And then next year you move forward with McCoy's still not old. Like, there's still good football in front of him. So I'm not giving up on this unit. Like, I'm struggling with some of the other units on the field in terms of age, production. Like, it's not good. I don't love wide receiver. I'm not feeling great about running back because Kamara is getting up in age. Linebacker, Davis is playing so good. But, again, Father Time's going to win that battle at some point. I'm struggling at defensive tackle with Brzee. Edge, like, Young's playing great. But you're going to move on from Cam Jordan eventually, and you need something beyond that, and you've already dealt Foskey, like, cut him. Like, there are other positions that, like, I don't have a great answer. I can find an answer on offensive line. I can get there on that unit. But I'm hopeful that the back half of this season allows that group to show some improvement. Show a little. I'm giving up on Ruiz, but tackles, yes. I can see it. Left guard with Radins, maybe. you got to hope, because I understand where they're looking at trying to get that offensive line to be the foundation of the team. It has worked previously with the Hall of Fame quarterback behind it. And you've hit on really good picks. Like, you did a great job getting Taron Armstrong. That was awesome. Ramczyk was a slam dunk pick. McCoy is very good. Like, they have hit on some of these in the past. But the ones out there right now, I got to see some more. So that's a look at offensive line. Ross has got a really good piece up at LouisianaSports.net right now if you want to go check that out for free. When we come back, LSU on the hardwood tonight. 3 things I'm looking for LSU and Florida International, including a really funny note on who Florida International's only win is against. I found it funny, at least. I'll tell you about it coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Maybe you're in the market for a vehicle for Christmas. Maybe spring of next year. Maybe you've got eyes on it. You know that your lease is coming up somewhere, and you're thinking right now is the time to dip my toe into the water and see what might be next. Just put Genesis on your list. It is a luxury brand at a reasonable price. You will be blown away at the sales staff over there. You will be blown away at the facility over there. And then you'll get behind the wheel and you'll know the difference. Like, it is a luxury brand, stylish, all the bells and whistles you're looking for, incredible safety features. Every model in the line is an IHH top safety pick. All of them. So get on by and see them. Airline at PQ. Or let them come to you where you can test drive remotely. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Everything you need is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Banking on the go? Our mobile app makes it effortless. But at Campus Federal, you're more than just an account number. We build relationships with our members, supporting you from saving for college to owning your first home. If you're buying a car, planning a home renovation, or a vacation, we're here to help. Campus Federal Credit Union, your trusted financial partner for every stage of life. Start your journey today.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories,
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Closing up hour number 1 here on this Thursday, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. LSU and Florida International tonight from the Assembly Center. Florida International comes in 1-1 on the season. They got beat by 30 by Nebraska. Nebraska made 17 of 34 threes the other day, which is 50%, pretty salty shooting effort there. But their one win, I found some humor in. Of course, Florida International, their name, their one win against Florida National, which I never heard of, but interesting matchup there between Florida International and Florida National. It's a bad Florida International team. LSU's first 5 or 6 non-conference games are against teams that are not very good at all, and I expect LSU to come out and dominate tonight inside the PMAC. But there are some things I want to see from this LSU team in this game tonight that I highlighted in a piece over at LouisianaSports.net. Max McKinnon really came out guns blazing in that first game. He was 6 of 7 from the floor. He was 4 of 5 from 3, led LSU with 19 points. And it's a guy who I think they're going to lean on for some scoring, and they're certainly going to lean on for some floor spacing. I need him to shoot the ball. He's a 40% three-point shooter last year at Portland. I need him to shoot the ball a little bit better. He was bad in their game against UNO, missed all 5 field goals, only had 1 assist. Just was never really involved in the flow of the offense. Marquel Sutton picked up the slack for him. He made 4 threes in that game, and that's really good to see. He's going to play the 3 for LSU, and I'd like both of those guys to show the ability to shoot the ball, to stretch defenses a little bit, to give DJ Thomas the lanes he needs to drive. But I'd like to see McKinnon get back in action tonight against Florida International and knock down some shots. I think he's an interesting player for LSU, a 6'7" 2-guard that can really shoot and show the ability to put the ball on the floor. I won't know how that quickness and length and ability to drive translates against SEC teams, but I know that shooting translates because you just got to fill it up. And I'd like to see McKinnon shoot it a little bit better in the game tonight. LSU's done a good job shooting free throws thus far. They're at 75% as a team. Mike Nwoku and Pablo Tamba have combined for the majority of those misses. Tamba's just 2 for 6. And then Mike Nwoku has missed 4 as well. So that's 8 of the 14 misses on the team for the season are from those 2 guys. DJ Thomas is 8 for 8. I love to see that from a point guard who's got to help you close out games. McKinnon is 5 for 5 from the free throw line. You love to see that. Even Robert Miller, big 6'10" sophomore, is 8 for 10 from the line early on. That's something that is the same against Kentucky as it is against Florida International. It's the same against Florida as it is against Florida International, just making free throws, and you want to be a good free throw shooting team, and early on LSU's doing a good job of that. So I want to see that continue. Again, that's not something that I'm concerned about. It's just there are very few things I can take from LSU throttling these teams by 25 points. Like it just is what it is. Free throw shooting is one of them. Like, so keep shooting the ball well from free throws. If you're looking for something specifically about Florida International in this game, they've got a couple of posts with some length. Hamed Olayinka is their leading scorer. He's 16 for 20 on the season from the floor. He's 6'9", averaging 18.5 points per game. And so you'll see Jalen Reed and Mike Nwoku dealing with him. They've also got Eric Dabami, who is a 6'10", 235-pound freshman who is a big body. He's been a bad shooter this year and hasn't done well offensively, but he's a big body. So it's not – sometimes these smaller schools come in to a game and they start a 6'7" forward, and that's like the biggest guy on the floor. You saw that in the game against Charleston State. That's not the case in this game. So just, I mean, look, I expect Mike Nwoku to dominate him the way that he dominated a UNO team that had some height on it, but he's just too big, too strong at 265 and too athletic, and he destroyed UNO, and I expect him to have a really strong showing tonight. But I'm curious who guards the 6'9" Olayinka, who's done a really good job from the floor for this Florida International team. Game's at 7 o'clock. You can watch on SEC Network Plus, and certainly you can get in by, and there are tickets available over there. You can listen to the game on actually 100.7 The Tiger tonight, not on Eagle 98.1, because on Eagle tonight you'll have the Frank Wilson show, as it were, with Chris Blair from TJ Ribs. Chris will be with us in 20 minutes to talk about that. So if you are driving around and you pop on 98.1, you go, I thought they were playing basketball tonight. 100.7 The Tiger is where you can find that game tonight for LSU and Florida International. Tigers looking to move to 3-0. If you're thinking, when are they going to play somebody that's any good? 2 weeks away. In 2 weeks, LSU will have a stretch of non-conference games. It will be Drake from Niceville, Florida, then either Georgia Tech or DePaul, then Boston College, then Texas Tech, then SMU. So that's 5 games against real opponents that you're 2 weeks away from. But right now, looking at different rotations, trying to make sure you get some of the younger players reps. You're trying to gel a team with a ton of new faces together. That's the goal over the course of these games. I don't expect LSU to have any issues at all in the game tonight. You never know. You start missing shots, another team gets hot from three, anything can happen. But Nebraska dispatched this team pretty easily, and Nebraska I don't think is ticketed for the Final Four this year, so I don't anticipate LSU having a lot of issues in the game tonight. 7 o'clock, pregame at 6:30. That's it for hour number 1. Missed any of the show today in the first hour, catch it on demand. I opened the show talking about an identity on one side of the ball for LSU's new football coach. You can find that at Hunt on LSU. Also a column on LouisianaSports.net. Also talked to Andrew Ellis from Inside Arkansas, scouting report on the Hogs, a little bit of Saints talk as well. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. Take a time out, come back with some LSU-Arkansas matchup preview. Chris Blair in 20 minutes. It's a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, swingeasygcbr.com. Excited next week to tell you all about something that's coming from us here over at Swing Easy Golf Club. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but I'm looking forward to it. But that's to find out next week. As far as this goes right now, this weekend, get on over to Swing Easy on Segan near Perkins. You can hit some golf shots, hang out with friends, work on your game. It's a great place to work on your game, and you can do so quickly in a climate-controlled area. You're inside. Don't have to worry about the cold. Don't have to worry about the hot. Don't have to worry about dead grass or scuffed golf balls. Don't have to worry about crowded range or paying for all the range balls there. You just hop in, work on your game. You can get on the driving range setting. You can see your carry distance, see your ball speed. You can see your club impact the golf ball with a slow motion camera there that's on every single swing. It's a great place to work on your game in a climate-controlled area. So get on by and see them. Segan at Perkins, swingeasygcbr.com. It's Swing Easy Golf Club, swingeasygcbr.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized, it'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Patriots on their best run in 7 years welcome the Jets tonight in the opening game of NFL Week 11. New England's won 7 straight and sits atop the AFC East at 8-2. Second-year quarterback Drake May, betting favorite to win NFL MVP, has been spectacular, coming off his 8th game this season with over 200 passing yards. And of the QBs drafted since 2020, he's the one to start a franchise with, believes ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky.
I'm going to go Drake May at number 1. This goes a little bit back to college football because in college football, I loved this guy. I loved calling his games. I fell in love with the character. I fell in love with the traits. He's taking a rebuilding organization, rebuilding football team, and having them as legit contenders in the lead for the MVP in the NFL right now. I would go Drake May.
Baylor Athletic Director and College Football Playoff Chairman Mack Rhoades stepping away from both roles for personal reasons. Arkansas AD Hunter Yurachek nominated as the new CFP committee chair. NHL Maple Leafs without star Austin Matthews tonight against the Kings, 7 Eastern ESPN Plus, could miss up to a week with a lower body injury.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
He's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. You can really feel that weekend starting to come once you get to the second half of the show on Thursday. Should be a gorgeous weather weekend down here in South Louisiana. I'm not going to promise spectacular football. Saints don't play, and LSU, we'll see what they've got for us at 11:45. We'll talk about it with Chris Blair coming up in 15 minutes. We'll talk Saints with Luke Johnson in half an hour. Missed any of the first hour, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. We're always brought to you by Sagrera Farms on Thursdays. Let's talk LSU and Arkansas. We haven't done a lot of that. Andrew Ellis was with us in the first hour from Inside Arkansas and kind of gave us the Arkansas side of things. But I've got a story up on LouisianaSports.net talking about matchups to watch. And one of them I think is just so obvious to talk about when it comes to LSU and Arkansas. When I mention Arkansas to the LSU fan, you're immediately going to go, Taylor Green. Sam Pittman's fired. Bobby Petrino. Great offense, terrible defense, right? Like that's just like kind of like the generic thought on Arkansas, who has not won a league game this year. And yeah, all that's right. And they have the worst defense in the SEC. They're 45 yards per game worse than second worst in the league, and they're 2 points worse than second worst in the league in scoring defense. They are the worst defense in the SEC. Every single SEC team has scored at least 32 points on them. That includes Auburn, who averages like 24 points per game and fired their coach. Like everybody's scored. We talked to Andrew Ellis in the first hour. He said, look, they don't have the dudes on the defensive front. They've got guys in the secondary who were basically benched on other SEC teams. It's just not a defensive unit that has SEC caliber players on it. And he's right, which is why they get gashed every week. Except one guy. And he's the guy I want to talk about. Because once I tell you where he plays, you'll go, oh, that's probably kind of relevant. Quincy Rhodes, you may have never heard of. Like, not watching a lot of Arkansas football. They're not winning a lot of games. But Quincy Rhodes Jr. is an edge defender for Arkansas. He is 6'6". He is 275 pounds. And he can play. He is second in the SEC in tackles for loss with 14. He is second in the SEC in sacks with 8. And he comes off the edge. He is big. He has got long levers. He can bend. He can win at the point. Like, he's good. And LSU has no tackles. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. You've got a true freshman playing on one side, and you've got a revolving door on the other side. And we talked a lot of the week entering Texas A&M 2 weeks, well, I guess it was 3 weeks ago now, about Cassius Howell. This guy's got a lot of sacks. He leads the SEC in sacks. He's really good off the edge. What are you going to do at tackle? Tyree Adams is hurt. What are you going to do? And you saw on LSU's first drive, Garrett Nussmeier dropped a pass, and Howell came off the offensive left side, the defensive right, and Carius Kern never touched him, and he leveled Garrett Nussmeier. I mean, just leveled it. It was one of those sacks. Some sacks kind of pop up out of nowhere. Some sacks, the entire stadium can see it coming for like 3 seconds. And that's what that one felt like. Kern never touched him. Howell just got up the field, bent the edge, bam, flattened Nussmeier. And that's the kind of player that you're looking at here in Quincy Rhodes Jr. And LSU knows that. This is not a secret. This is not like A&M last year where they went with Marcel Reed and you went, oh, I was kind of prepared for Connor Wigman here. What is this? Let's figure it out. Like, you've known all week that this is the only player on Arkansas's entire defense that is reasonably decent. He's very good. But everybody else, the other 10 guys out there, can't play. Can't play dead in the Western. They get gashed every week. So if you're LSU and you know that perhaps the weakest spot on your offense is both tackles, and their best player is over there, you've got to find a way to account for that. Now, I know that fans get tired of looking at it, but like one of the things LSU is just doing until they're blue in the face is they're throwing screens because they don't think they can sit back and drop to throw the ball a long way. And there's reason to believe that based on the pressure that Garrett Nussmeier has faced most of this year. So you've got to have a plan for Rhodes. Now, your tight ends don't block very well. Like Bauer Sharp doesn't block very well. Trey'Dez Green doesn't block very well. Can you put Donovan Green on his side? Maybe. Do you need to roll the pocket like LSU did in Tuscaloosa early in the game to just make sure that you're moving away from him? Do you have to run at him? Keep in mind, Arkansas, really bad. Stopping the run. Really bad. But you can't let Quincy Rhodes Jr. take over this game. And if you don't do something to combat him and you just ask Carius Kern and Weston Davis / Ori Williams to handle their business against him, that is a losing proposition. You're going to be tasked in this game with scoring some points. It will stun me if LSU is able to win this game like they did against Florida or Clemson or South Carolina and just go out there and beat Arkansas 20-13. Like, it will stun me if they're able to do that. They've got to find a way to move the ball and get points frequently. And you can't do that if Quincy Rhodes is terrorizing your tackles. Now, I'll listen to the adjustment being, we're just going to let Michael Van Buren go back there. We're going to run some read option. We're going to run the ball more than we don't. And we think he can be elusive enough to get away from Quincy Rhodes at times. I'll listen to that now. I'm not opposed to it. I'm not in the camp that says Garrett Nussmeier should never take another snap at LSU. Like, I'm not there. There are some that are. That's fine. You can have that opinion. I don't have it. But if your adjustment is, well, we need a guy that's a little bit more athletic to help our tackles. He moves a little bit better. He can evade some rush. He can step up and run for 5 yards if he needs to. We can run read option stuff that freezes the defensive end and doesn't let him get up the field where he does do a good job against the run with those 14 tackles for loss. Like, we'll just leave him unblocked and read him. Like, you can do that too. There are things you can put in to make sure this guy doesn't blow it up. Because you heard Andrew Ellis in the first segment, the first hour. You're listening to me. Look at the stat sheets. Look at the scoreboard. Look at anything you want to look at. There's nobody else in that Arkansas defense that you're like, ooh, need to really account for that guy. It's Quincy Rhodes Jr., and that's it. Just so now, if you had Will Campbell and Emory Jones, like, I'd go, who cares? Just go play. He might beat you once or twice, but over the course of 65 offensive snaps, you'll be fine. Just run your stuff. But with this offensive line, I'm not saying that. You just, quote unquote, run your stuff, he'll crush you. He's better than what you've got on the edges. So that's the only place in this matchup, offense. And I know LSU's offense has been bad. I get it. But I don't look anywhere else and think, I don't know how LSU's going to combat that. They can do everything else against this team. They can run the ball a little bit. Not great, but some. They can complete passes. This is a bad unit. Memphis went up and down the field with ease on them. Auburn. Have you seen Auburn play offense? Have you seen them? They went up and down the field in Arkansas in the second half. They had to change quarterbacks to do it, and that may be the method for LSU, but Auburn did it. So this is not a segment about how bad LSU's offense is. We've watched them. But teams that have far less talent and have been even less productive than LSU, Auburn in particular, have moved the ball. It can be done. You can't let this guy put you in 1st and 18 with a sack. Strip sack, create a short field for Arkansas's offense that gives you no chance as a defense. 3rd down and 6, you can't get your guys out in route trees because you let this guy bend the edge and get to you too quickly and blow up the play. You've got to have a plan for this guy almost every snap because he's just better than what you got. You've had all week to figure that out. It's the one matchup when you're on the field that benefits Arkansas. Neutralize it and go win everywhere else. That's what you've got to do with this guy if you're LSU. I can come up, and I will tomorrow. We'll talk about options that LSU has to be productive in places where I do think LSU is better than Arkansas. This is not one, so clean it up. That's what I'm thinking here. In this first segment of hour number 2, it's first matchup to watch. I've got 2 more matchups to watch that you can check out at LouisianaSports.net for free. Speaking of LSU-Arkansas, Voice of the Tigers will have the coaches show tonight with Frank Wilson, TJ Ribbs, Owen Acadian. He will join us when we come back next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Captives, something that you've got to explore if you're a business owner and your insurance program feels like it's just getting to a point where paying for it is prohibitive. Like a lot of folks are in that boat. The insurance market is tough. Captives are a way to do something creatively to help handle costs. You've got to have sizable premium. You've got to have great loss control. You've got to have great history in your losses. If you do, and your broker hasn't presented you a captive, go visit with the Highland Insurance Group. They are happy to do it. Jonathan Carver and his team work with captives every single day. And not every broker has access to captives. Some brokers are kind of locked in with what they can provide you with. Not the Highland Insurance Group. They're independent. They've got contracts with dozens of carriers. They've got contracts with captives. They can help you out with that. So if you're a business owner, CFO, risk manager, whoever's handling insurance, and captives have not been presented to you, the Highland Insurance Group can help you with that. They're based here in Baton Rouge. You can check them out online at HighlandIG.com. It's Jonathan Carbo and his team. The Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
Attention diesel mechanics. River Parish Contractors has an immediate full-time opening with benefits. Valid licenses and TWIC card is required to apply. Call or text Big Jake today at 985-479-9858 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on Apply Now. Come be part of the team that values hard work, has a high standard of excellence, and delivers projects on time and...
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Looking for a big old slab of ribs tonight, maybe something cold to drink, brisket quesadilla. You can get on by TJ Ribs tonight at 7 o'clock for the Frank Wilson Show. Chris Blair, Voice of the Tigers, certainly be there. You can hear it on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. Chris with us on Thursdays. Joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm great, Hunt. Hope you're doing well.
Doing quite well. Let's talk about what we saw in Tuscaloosa back on Saturday. Tiger defense bowed up and played pretty well. What'd you see?
Yeah, I mean, certainly played well enough to get a win. I mean, again, I think that's what probably left most people feeling the way they did late Saturday night. You know, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Because I thought the defense did a really good job against a really good offense that does what they do, albeit a little different than Alabama that we're accustomed to. You know, again, it's an offense that relies on the passing attack, a pro-style quarterback. And once again, I thought LSU's defense did an excellent job of, again, keeping them under their SEC average as far as points are concerned. And I think if you ask most people on any given year, if you go to Tuscaloosa and hold Alabama to 20 points, LSU, and for that matter, any other SEC school feels pretty good about it. It all comes down to, once again, and I'm sure you're going to, I'm stealing your thunder, but it was the inability to find the end zone, which, again, the opportunities were there. Opportunities to have big plays, big chunk plays were there, and just did not come to fruition.
You feel like Michael Van Buren gives him a little bit of a spark, a little bit of a different look?
I mean, I think, you know, it's so easy, Hunt, and I try to caution myself from just simply going, well, look, when he got in there, you know, good things happened. And of course, that's true. I think there's a dynamic to what Alabama was preparing for, what Kane Womack was wanting to do defensively, and suddenly you have to change a little bit, and there's going to be an adjustment period for Alabama's defense, even though they probably did work on the fact that Van Buren may see some action. But having said that, we still didn't get into the end zone. So is that just a great job by Alabama's defense? Or does that mean there's still a lot more work to do, not just who the quarterback is, but the offense as a unit?
No doubt. And you look at offensive tackle, you know, you've got a freshman out on one side while Tyree Adams is getting healthy, and then you've got a kind of revolving door at the right side. And Arkansas's got one of the better edge rushers in the league. So what have you seen from those guys, and how can LSU help them?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting matchup. Again, all the storylines, interim coaches, and Battle of the Golden Boot, all that goes with it every single year. And the fact that you've got an offense that's pretty prolific under Coach Petrino, not a shock. You got an offense for LSU that is struggling mightily, averaging just over 21 points a game in SEC play, and you're facing a team that pretty much rolls the helmet out there and puts 30-plus against SEC teams. Pretty good SEC teams, I might add. They haven't won a game, but they've certainly had their opportunities because they score points. And then you've got an Arkansas defense that, outside of a handful of guys as a unit, is absolutely horrid. So does that give you optimism that, hey, this might be the chance to find the end zone? To me, that's the biggest question. I mean, you say it all the time when you break down matchups. You know, something's got to give. Well, what is it that's going to give this particular Saturday for one team or the other? And frankly, even though we're at week number 10, or game number 10, I should say, I I don't know that I have an educated guess as to which one is going to give, whether it's Arkansas's defense, stands up and gives LSU trouble, or if it's LSU's offense that, finds the right sync, if you will, to be able to produce points. Because goodness knows, I mentioned it to everybody when we left Bryant-Denny. I don't know how good Arkansas is defensively. I haven't seen them yet other than watching them on TV. I've seen the Arkansas scores. But I do know one thing: 9 points won't get it done.
No, 9 will not get it done. Arkansas is going to score, and one of the reasons they score is because Taylon Green puts up a lot of yards and makes a lot of plays. He makes some mistakes, but he makes a lot of plays, and LSU, as we know, has struggled corralling running quarterbacks. Diego Pavia, Trinidad Chambliss, certainly Marcel Reed got going. What do you think Blake Baker's telling his guys this week?
I think that's the thing that concerns me the most, Hunt, is the fact that not only does Taylon Green run the ball effectively when plays break down and when they design runs for him, but they also have some pretty good running backs. So their rushing attack overall is pretty good. So, you look at a matchup like South Carolina and you say to yourself, okay, if you can hem in Lenora Sellers, make him play in a phone booth, you feel pretty good. Well, for most of the night, that's exactly what happened. Did not happen at Ole Miss. Even though I think they've got a really good running back as well. So suddenly now it was, to me, when you look at the Ole Miss loss, it was LSU guessing as to when the quarterback was going to be involved and when they would account for that quarterback along with the running back. And the tight end was able to get some big plays. So it was kind of like they picked their poison. We're going to the tight end or we're going to concentrate on the quarterback. That's a little bit of my concern going into this because I think Arkansas has the ability to run the football beyond just Taylon Green. Now, he's a big part of it, but he's not the only part. So for me, it's like we've got to be all in on stopping the run. If nothing else, regardless of final score, we are not going to let Arkansas as a team come in here and run up and down the field, whether it's Green, whether it's their running backs, whether they get their receivers and jet sweeps, whatever that combination is, it has to be we're going to make Taylon Green put points on the board. The only way he can do it is in the pocket or somewhat in the pocket throwing the ball down the field. Because I like LSU's odds with their receivers versus our corners and our safeties. I like that. If they're able to run all day long, it could be a very long morning and afternoon.
Yeah, 11:45 kickoff inside Tiger Stadium. What's you curious to learn from Coach Wilson tonight?
Well, it's kind of what you were asking me, and I wish I had better answers. I don't, but I'm gonna start with where were the deficiencies when you broke down the film? What were the problems that hampered your ability as you ran up and down the 20s? Once you got in the red zone, what was it that broke down? Was it schematics? Was it personnel at the wrong time? Was it getting the play in on time? Just kind of want to see how they went back post-mortem, if you will, to borrow a bad term, to see why that was happening. Because, as I said, I think the most important thing is, and Coach Wilson said this Monday, it's non-negotiable. They got to find the end zone Saturday. So I want to start there. And then I think defensively, I want to say, okay, what have you heard and what have the defensive coaches talked about that were the X's and O's deficiency that allowed Chambliss to have a field day or at least be very successful as a dual threat quarterback? What was it that happened against Diego Pavia that allowed him to be a dual threat quarterback, and obviously Marcel Reed? And I know they've been working on it. I know they've identified it, but I think that's what I want to find out is what do they think they got to do differently and see where that falls.
Got a thought on the basketball team after a couple of wins?
I like the way they look. I like the way this roster is constructed. I like the size on the front line. I think I told you that last week.
Yeah.
Obviously DJ Thomas is a legit point guard. I still hold firm. I don't know how much we'll know about this team. The same way I would say about any team you gave me right now in college basketball, whether it's the $22 million Kentucky Wildcat roster that fell short to Louisville in that rivalry game the other night, or whether it's whatever team you want to pick. I don't know that anybody knows exactly what they have just yet. I just think it looks more like an SEC team. And Coach Brady has said the same to me. I mean, you'd love to have a great point guard. You'd love to have a lights-out shooting guard. You want a front line that can protect the rim and pound the ball into the paint and get some shots around the rim and rebound. And you like to have a wing that's very athletic that can score inside and out. That's the perfect roster. I think LSU's come a long way in a single year in getting that backcourt and getting that front line. And I think they've got very good role players at the 3 and 4 position. And that's why I'm still pretty bullish on this team.
We'll see. There'll be action tonight against Florida International from the PMAC. Last one, Chris. We'll let you go. Paul Skeens wins the Cy Young in his second year, won the Rookie of the Year last year, and that was the first year he played professionally beyond his time at LSU. How quickly did you know that this was going to happen?
Yeah, I think after watching his rookie season. I mean, I really believe that. I mean, we all saw what was incredible, and you and I've talked about it. You know, we saw him early on in his senior campaign here at LSU, and we're like, man, guy is really different from everybody else. But it's a long season. Can you continue it? Can you do it back to back to back? And he did, and he made it look pretty easy, to be honest with you. And then he goes in his rookie season, and you're like, okay, you know, he's on adrenaline. He's shot out of a cannon. He's got great skills. But is he going to be able to do this night in and night out? Then you get to this season where he's got an under 2 ERA on a team that absolutely sucks, that loses every game 1-0 or 2-1. He's just amazing. And as I've told people before that live outside of Louisiana or may not be LSU fans, guys, watch Paul Skeens. If you love baseball, watch Paul Skeens because you're watching history. You're going to be talking about Paul Skeens in the same way we talk about DiMaggio and the way we talk about the Babe. We're watching it in real time.
He's pretty salty. I was caught off guard in his time at LSU in the first SEC weekend. He went to College Station and just dominated them. And Jim Schlossnagle said, "I've been around a long time," which he has. Said, "I saw Strasburg. He's better than all those guys." I said, "Oh, really? That's good." And it turned out to be really good the rest of the way. He's pretty awesome. Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, be with you. Frank Wilson show tonight. Be on the call Saturday morning to begin things for LSU and Texas A&M. Thanks, Chris.
You got it, man.
Always enjoy our conversations with Chris Blair. You can, again, catch the Frank Wilson Show tonight, Eagle 98.1 at 7 o'clock. It'll be opposite LSU basketball, which you can find on 100.7 The Tiger this evening here in Baton Rouge. All right, let's step aside, and we'll talk Saints when we come back with Luke Johnson. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com, and you can really do everything online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. You can see the entire inventory. You can see pictures of every car that they've got on the lot, see the features of all of those vehicles. You can see the awards that they have won. You can see pricing, and if you decide based on browsing, hey, I'd like to take a look at that, but I don't know about getting all the way over to Airline Drive based on where I am, well, that's okay. You can just get a remote test drive. Get one of their brand ambassadors to drive right over to you, to the office, to the house, and you can test drive that way. And if you decide after that test drive, hey, this is something I'd like to move forward with, you can buy that vehicle without ever setting foot on the lot because they'll send you an e-contract. They'll deliver your vehicle to your front door. It's as easy as that. It's all about convenience, customer service, and a wonderful brand and line of vehicles at Genesis of Baton Rouge. Again, they're on airline at PQ, but you can check them out online, GenesisofBatonRouge.com, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Attention diesel mechanics. River Parish Contractors has an immediate full-time opening with benefits. Valid licenses and TWIC card is required to apply. Call or text Big Jake today at 985-479-9858 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on Apply Now. Come be part of the team that values hard work, has a high standard of excellence, and delivers projects on time and safely. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at DecisionCriticalBR.com and give us a call today to get started.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel.
Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers along with...
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Shift things back to the black and gold. Saints get a win in Carolina. They're off this week. Luke Johnson, not off this week. He's here with us on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Covers Hoodats for the Advocate, NOLA.com. Gives us time on Thursdays. Luke, how we doing?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
It's our pleasure. Whether it was a trend, a stat, a moment, what was the best thing you saw from Tyler Shuck in Charlotte?
You know, I think it was the thing that he did on third downs. You look at what this team has done for the majority of this season. It was like 3rd and 8+ was a death sentence for this team. I mean, converting less than 15% of their opportunities there, which, like, for context, would have put them at either the worst or the second to worst in the NFL. Shuck got in there and he extended plays and he gave him life, and they converted 3 out of their 4 chances in 3rd and long, which is like a far cry from what they were doing. And that's just like a microcosm of what made that performance so impressive. It was the feel in the pocket. It was the ability to throw it downfield on target. And that is something that you feel like you can build on. And you feel really, really encouraged by that. Like, he's going to have to show a ton more, right? Don't get me wrong. Like, it was one game. We've seen awful quarterbacks in the past have one really good game. So we got to see more of it. But like that in particular really, really made me feel good about him.
What didn't you like, if anything?
Honestly, like, not much. You know, there's some nitpicky stuff you can pull out of that game and be like, not so great. And I'm talking about Tyler Shuck specifically here. Like, there was a 3rd down throw to Taysom Hill. It was like a 3rd and 4. He had him on a little option route where he kind of put it on his back shoulder. It was tough, like a tough catch to make. That was on Shuck. There's another one that was like a double move to Devon Bailey, where if he threw the pass on target would have been a huge gain. Instead, it was kind of underthrown, and Bailey had to like come back for it and didn't make the play. But like, again, that's nitpicky. And like, I think if you're seeing a guy who can do the hard stuff really, really well, you can build on the easier stuff, and you could see a path forward to him being a really good quarterback. But like, he's got to get that stuff done, right? We're talking about a guy who was really impressive last week, came up in clutch moments, but at the same time, they scored 17 points. You know, like, this is still a team that hasn't scored more than 20 points in 8 out of its 10 games. It's got to be more consistent, but that's a really, really good first step.
You mentioned Devon Bailey. What are your expectations for him after the bye week, now that you've got some room to get him on the field?
I mean, I expect him to be a bigger part of this offense, which, like, really isn't saying much.
Yep.
I think he's topped out at 2 catches in his 9 games with the team so far. Like, it was really nice to see Chris Olave and Juwan Johnson have big games last week against Carolina. Really accounting for the majority of those 282 passing yards that Tyler Shuck had. But when you look at the box score, Bailey was the only other receiver targeted, and he had 1 catch. So Well, I think that was like a nice performance. Like, they're going to need other people to contribute to this passing game. It was a step in the right direction to see Vele get a really significant portion of the snaps played. That's something that we haven't seen all year. And obviously, like, they needed somebody to step into the void that Rashid Shaheed left when they traded him. So, like, I'm encouraged. I want to see more.
Offensive line, I spent a whole segment on it in the first hour. There's just a lot of moving pieces, injuries, development, whatnot. What's most important to you moving forward after the bye week on the offensive front?
I just want I want to see continued strides from Kelvin Banks. I think it has been exactly kind of what you expect from a rookie offensive tackle, even considering the fact he was taken in the top 10, right? Like, there has been some moments where it's looked really, really, really good, and there's been some moments where it's looked not so good. I just want to see him kind of make continued strides to where by the end of the season, you're like, we have our starter there for the next 10 years, as long as he stays healthy. I think he's on that track. And that, to me, like, when you're looking at what they're doing this year, you want to see signs that your first and second round picks in this year's draft are going to be guys who are like cornerstone players for you. And like Kelvin Banks being like a stud left tackle is one thing, right? That'd be awesome if you can get that out of the top 10 pick. It is not a guarantee. Like, I mean, the Giants couldn't even unload Evan Neal this year at the trade deadline. The Saints found a trade partner for Trevor Penning, which tells you exactly how bad Evan Neal's been for the Giants. So it's not a guarantee, but like pretty good chances of landing a good player there. If they're able to get a player out of Tyler Shuck, like, just think about the value of that. Like, that's a 40th overall pick for a quarterback who you feel like can be your franchise quarterback. Again, way too early to really legitimately have those conversations, but if they do hit on them, like, that's such a huge boost to what they're trying to do. Like, if you're looking at a team with a top 5, top 10 pick next year, to not have to worry about quarterback, to be able to find and not have to worry about left tackle, like, to be able to find a true impact player at a premium position that's not one of those two, like, then you're really talking about being able to rebuild quickly and accelerate the rebuild. So it's super, super important they hit on those two, and Kelvin Banks is a huge part of that.
I thought the defense did a good job on the Carolina ground game, which was the biggest concern this time last week. What'd you see from the defense? I think it was a lot of older players, but what'd you see?
Yeah, I do think that, like, if you're looking at what Carolina wants to do, it is like get after your butt with their offensive line, right? Like, those guys they're not like these like A+ pass blockers. A lot of them are A+ run blockers. And they want to just get downhill and just get after you. And the Saints completely controlled that, which is really nice to see. Like, I don't know if this is going to be a thing that we can count on the rest of the year. Like, they've just been really a Jekyll and Hyde run defense. It kind of depends on the week. But for that week, it was awesome. And it was, you go back and look at it, and it was a lot of gap integrity, stuff that sounds boring as hell, but, like, it's how you win football games. And the defensive line was just kind of dictating the games of the offensive line and letting the second and third level defenders come in and make plays. And if you're able to do that and look at the Panthers, be like, now beat us with Bryce Young. I mean, that's like, we see what we saw last week. Like, he's not the kind of quarterback who's able to take games over on you. They're going to have different challenges toward the end of the season. I think they'll face some better quarterbacks. But, like, if they are able to dictate the terms in that way, I mean, look, that's what made them such a great defense for like 5 straight years with Dennis Allen calling plays. They were an awesome run defense who then dictated the terms to the offense, and then they could play the way they wanted to play. So, like, if they could consistently stack that, you'd feel pretty good about it, especially considering some of these games they have coming up on the schedule. I mean, they were winnable games. Granted, everybody's looking at the Saints as a winnable game.
Yeah.
But there's a chance for them to really feel good about themselves going into 2026.
How much more of Danny Stutzman do you expect to see after the bye week, if any more at all?
Yeah, I think it's going to be just about what we've been seeing. Playing about 1 out of every 4 series or something like that. Yeah, because they're paying Pete Werner. I mean, I don't think Stutzman has been so good that you're just going to take Werner out of the lineup. Even if Pete's like not this like overly sexy player, does a lot of like splash plays on the defensive side of the ball. Like he is at the very least like going to be where he's supposed to be, and he's dependable. So I don't think Stutzman's done quite enough in his limited playing time to be like we can live with some of the mistakes he's going to make as a rookie because we think he's like got star potential. But I do like the fact that they're playing him. Like this is an organization right now that needs good young football players, and Danny Stutzman's one of them. I like the fact that they're giving him a look.
Is there another young player that you think we might see more of after the bye week anywhere on the field?
No, I don't really think so. I mean, you think about look, their rookie class right now, and even their second year class. I mean, they're all playing big roles, with the exception of Stutzman, really. I would personally like to see more of Devin Neal, I guess. I don't know if we're going to, though, if that makes sense. I still think they're going to lean hard on Alvin Kamara. We saw last week, like when he's going right, he's a really big part of their offense. But I do really like what I've seen out of Devin Neal in the very limited opportunities he's had to carry the ball. And I think he's probably the best pass blocking running back they have on their team right now, which is like where we're seeing the majority of the snaps. So, outside of Neal, though, I mean, like Quincy Riley's starting, like Stutzman's got his role, Shuck is starting, Kelvin Banks is starting, Jonas Senker is starting, they got Kool-Aid McKinstry starting, they got Brian Brzee in there playing a bunch of snaps. Like they're definitely making a concerted effort to get younger and play their younger guys. I just don't see like a lot of opportunities because they're already playing so many guys for them to get even younger than they already are.
Over under on Saints wins the rest of the way, 2.5.
All right, I had them at 3 and 4 when we did our little roundtable segment. I think it's publishing tomorrow on the site. I don't feel good about that. I feel like I'm maybe getting a little bit too high on what they did last week, but I really do think that schedule lines up to where I could see him being the Jets, the Titans. I could see him beating the Falcons. I could see him beating the Panthers again. I could see him beating the Dolphins. Like there's a lot of games there that are, it's different than the first half of the schedule where they played kind of the cream of the crop. They're going to get a chance to play teams that are in their peer group. So I think we'll see him play really competitive football at the very least, and something that looks close to 500.
He's on Twitter at @ByLukeJohnson. You can find him during the bye week. And, of course, as the Saints move on in the back half of the season, he's here every single Thursday. Thanks, Luke.
My pleasure, man. Talk to you later.
Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. You're talking about top 1% beef in the country, and it's right outside Baton Rouge, right here in Ethel. Prime Angus beef. You got to see this. It's a different way to buy your beef. If you're not happy because of prices, if you're not happy because you're not sure where the beef you're buying is coming from, if you've always done it one way and are looking for a different way to buy your beef, this is your answer. You don't have to ask questions about where your beef came from if you buy from Sagrera Farms. It's right there on the farm. You don't have to ask how many DNA are in this beef that I just bought. It's one. You don't know what you're buying when you buy it somewhere else. You don't have to ask if they're improper steroids given or improper antibiotics given to the beef. That's never going to happen at Sagrera Farms. And you don't have to ask about quality either, because they know what the quality is. It's prime. I tell you about that intramuscular fat score all the time. You talk about select, that's 1 to 3. You're talking about choice, 3 to 8. You're talking about prime, that's 8, 9, and higher on that score. Well, you're talking about Sagrera Farms, 14, 15, 18, 20 on that IMF score. That is the best of the best, and it's right here just outside of Baton Rouge. So give Sean a call, 225-719-1723. Again, 225-719-1723. Get a quarter, get a side, get a whole cow to stuff your freezer with so you have the best ground beef, the best steaks, the best ribeye filet, strip, whether you're looking for skirt, chuck, all of it. Sagrera Farms has got you covered. Some of the best beef in the country just outside of Baton Rouge. Bring you our Thursday shows each and every week. Come back, talk a little Paul Skeens, close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Parrish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parrishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parrishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Faugu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Faugu.
Banking on the go? Our mobile app makes it effortless. But at Campus Federal, you're more than just an account number. We build relationships with our members, supporting you from saving for college to owning your first home. If you're buying a car, planning a home renovation, or a vacation, we're here to help. Campus Federal Credit Union, your trusted financial partner for every stage of life. Start your journey today.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Shout out Paul Skeens, National League Cy Young Award winner, posted the lowest ERA in baseball this year at 1.97. First sub-2 ERA in the history of the Pittsburgh Pirates. First in Major League Baseball since Justin Verlander 3 years ago with the Astros. The last pitcher with a sub-2 ERA at 23 years old or younger, Doc Gooden in 1985. It's only been done now 4 times in the history of Major League Baseball. Vida Blue did it in 1971, Louisiana native. Dean Chance did it in 1964. Dwight Gooden, Vida Blue, Dean Chance, Paul Skeens. That's it. Under 23, sub 2 ERA. He allowed 0.5 home runs per 9 innings. That led the majors this year. He allowed a .948 whip, walks and hits per inning pitch, so under 1. That led the National League. He struck out 216 hitters. That is the most ever by a Pittsburgh right-hander. And despite all that, he was 10-10. Shout out to the Pirates bullpen. Shout out to the Pirates offense. It's just awful. But Paul Skeens is the best pitcher in baseball. Tarek Skubal's awesome. Zach Wheeler's awesome. Paul Skeens is the best. And Paul Skeens was basically the best when he got to the majors. He's better than he was at LSU. He's now, they detailed this on MLB Network last night. He's got 7 pitches that he can throw. Fastball, sinker, splinker, change, curveball, slider. It's a devastating array of pitches, and the top end of it's 101 miles an hour. I will continue to say this, not to like bring myself and insert myself into this, but I saw him in the fall, and I was like, okay, well, we'll see what he's got. Like, Pearson just hit a homer off him. Like, he'll probably be fine. I did not see this coming when I saw him in the fall. So I'm an idiot. Not right. He's the best pitcher in the history of LSU baseball. He's the best pitcher in the world right now, and that's not going to be his last Cy Young. Unanimous. 30 votes. All of them went to Paul Skeens last night. Very cool moment for Paul Skeens, for LSU baseball, for that 2023 team. Incredible stuff for Paul Skeens, who now adds the Cy Young to his Rookie of the Year from last year. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer. It's almost a weekend. Might be time to pop the top. If you do, Flight by Yingling. Delicious, crisp, light, refreshing, 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, everything you're looking for in a light beer. Also, everything you're looking for with that flavor. It's Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
All right, so let's keep it on Paul Skeens. So in 28 months, Paul Skeens has a College World Series National Championship, College World Series MVP, the Dick Hauser Award, number 1 overall pick, 2-time All-Star Game starter, NL Rookie of the Year, NL Cy Young. Will Skeens become the most accomplished LSU athlete of all time?
I'm going to leave that. I mean, Shaq is pretty good.
He's up there.
He's considered a top 10 player of all time. For Skeens to be a top 10 player of all time, like, he's got to do some serious work. It's not impossible for sure.
Yeah.
But Shaq's what you're chasing there, I guess. I'm going to leave it because of Shaq, but he's going to be really good. There's no doubt about it. Shout out to my wife. We were watching the Cy Young ceremony, and the first Cy Young that was awarded was the AL Cy Young. And she looked at me and she said, was Al Cy Young a pitcher or something? Looking for American League there. But that's an indication of the amount of sports that get discussed in my home, which is about none.
You know, it would have been weird if she knew who won the AL Cy Young.
Is Al Cy Young a pitcher or something? That's American League, but good looking out.
All right, so the NFL filed a grievance against the NFL Players Association, asking the union to stop its annual team report cards, saying the exercise violates the collective bargaining agreement by airing public criticisms of the team. Is the no fun league back? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I want to know. I want to know whose food stinks. I want to know who does a terrible job flying. I want to know who's awesome.
Exactly.
Like, I want to know. So do it better. Nobody's going to air. Nobody's going to give you a failing grade if you're really good at it.
There you go. If you want to not have a failing grade, become a better owner. And people said this was tied to Woody Johnson because he was the one owner that got a complete F. So, we'll see what old Woody's got up his sleeve. So, I can't leave without talking about the Pelicans.
Oh, wonderful. I'll look forward to this.
Zion Williamson was cleared to return to the court today. But unfortunately, will he be able to stay healthy to, let's just say Christmas time? Take it or leave it.
A month and a half?
Hunt. We've seen him go down in like 2 games.
I'll leave it.
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
Trade him for a pick.
Get your pick back. We've seen.
People seem to think Derek Queen's pretty good.
I ain't gonna say we seen. I think our eyeballs work. This kid can play ball, and he's gonna be in the same spots that Zion is in. And the thing about it is, Queen has already played more games this season than Zion. So at this point, pack your bags. Let's go get that first round pick back, Joe.
Zion's played like 5 more than my cat. Is that right?
At this rate, Hunt, if we might have played more basketball games than Zion at this point because what are we doing? Get your pick back. Fire Willie Green. That's it for Take It or Leave It.
Get your pick back. Fire Willie Green. We'll leave it at that. If you missed any of the show today, you can catch it on demand. I started today's show with a thought on head coaches who have an expertise in one side of the ball, and that's their identity. And that's kind of what I'm looking for LSU to go find in this cycle. So I gave some examples. You can go back and check that out. Hunt on LSU on YouTube. Also previewed Arkansas with Andrew Ellis of Inside Arkansas. I gave you my one concern about Arkansas's defense. You can find all that at Hunt on LSU. 2 Saints segments today. I talked about offensive line. Luke talked about Tyler Shuck and this Saints offense. So you can find that at Hunt on Saints. Missed whole shows. Want to find them all? Hunt Palmer Show, wherever you find your sound. That's it for us. We're brought to you by Sagrera Farms on Thursdays. Tomorrow, Football Friday edition. Get you ready for LSU in Arkansas. Recap LSU basketball as well. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We will see you tomorrow for a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.